Dieverune Cosmetics has a brand new collection, April Showers, and it is made up of 5 eyeshadows and a completely new product, 2 highlighters. The first shadow that we're going to be looking at is Thunderbolts, and it is more of a satin shadow with a lot of sparkle, but it's not sparkly, if that makes sense, or textured. It's very smooth. Cloudburst is a textured lavender shadow with multicolored sparkles of pink, green, and white. It does smooth out when applied though, but just know it starts out textured. Sprinkle is an aqua shadow with blue and silver sparkle, and at certain angles we get a purple shift as well as a pink shift in my opinion. It doesn't come through in the pan though. Downpour is a transparent yellow-based shadow with a strong white sparkle supported by cobalt blue and green shifts, but you don't really see that yellow like Drop. All of the shadows are retailing for $14 each, or in a bundle for $64. And this collection was sent to me in PR. April Showers looks minty in the pan, but it is transparent with champagne, green, and pink sparkles. Drop has a yellow transparent base with a blue glow. I did combine them on the third swatch, and I think they really layer well together, especially because Drop is so smooth and April Showers is much more textured and sparkly. For this first look, I predominantly used Dieverune Cosmetics eyeshadows, and the purples I used were all in the Witch of the Wildflower palette. I used Starwort, I used Purple Toadflex, and I think I used Porcelain Berry as well. I knew I wanted to do something not like fully monochromatic, but like mostly monochromatic. I don't know if this happens to anybody else, but even when I do like eyeshadow primer or what have you, I have like a particular spot on my upper eyelid, specifically on my right eye, where I feel like shadow will just sometimes not stick, and it's especially apparent in purple eyeshadow, and I don't know if it's just because of the pigment or what, but I've noticed this happen with like different purple eyeshadows across the board. It's not just Dieverune's purples, it's quite literally every purple ever. So if you're like, wow, it's looking kind of patchy and bald on the eye that I just so happen to be filming with, something about my eyelid on my right eye just rejects purple pigments. But I'm just spending some time building up the darker purple color on the outer eye portion, and I almost wish I went in with a black eyeshadow, but I'm also trying not to lean on black eyeshadow for darkening everything, even though I love the look of like a super deep smoky eye. I did want to just keep it where it is. I want to know what you guys have been up to lately. I just started playing Doom: The Dark Ages, and I was playing about like 50 hours of Oblivion, and I still don't know how I feel about it. Like, I can totally see why people have such nostalgia for it, but I didn't grow up playing it, so, you know, it does feel like playing a dated game a bit, but it was a lot of fun. I really liked it, but I'm actually having a lot of fun with the new Doom game, even though I'm not really big into FPS, which is first-person shooter if you don't know, but I've been having a lot of fun with it. And yes, I am playing on the easiest setting. And for the powder blue, I'm using Wolfsbane from Dieverune Cosmetics Warlock of the Woods, which was gifted to me by the brand, and I just love that dusty powder blue moment. Like, it's such a beautiful color always, and it's one of my favorite shades of blue to wear. I think just because like sometimes I struggle with certain saturated blues, and I mean the dusty blue never fails me. And I feel like if you're ever intimidated by wearing the color blue, I feel like a dusty blue or a cornflower blue, even though I think it might sound intimidating more than like a more saturated blue, I think it's a really good blue to start out with. Or if it's too light for you, I would suggest trying navy. Oh my gosh, I love a good navy blue as well. But yeah, honestly, I love blue a lot. But like I said, just certain like saturated blues really don't show up on me, and I really don't know how to describe the tone of it. But when I see it, I just know, like, oh, it's for whatever reason just gonna fight against me. Next, I am applying the Dieverune Cosmetics Stick and Sparkle Pigment Primer, which is very similar to Fire and A's Pixie Epoxy, and it is white in the tube, but it does dry down clear, which is really helpful. And I had to go in with Thunderbolts because I just love the sparkles in it. Like, it's so pretty. It reminds me of Milky Way from Terra Moons, but just in a completely different formula, because it is more satin. It doesn't really have a lot of shifts or sheen to it, but the sparkles really stand out, and I love that they're contrasting with the base color. It's so beautiful. And then on the right eye, I'm just applying it with a brush just to see how it applies, and then I'm also using my finger just to kind of see how they compare. And I think because it's, I don't know if dense is the right word, I feel like it picks up really well on both a finger and a brush, so it's just kind of personal preference. And then I'm just using the brush to diffuse out the edges a little bit, and I couldn't decide between Sprinkle or Cloudburst, but I ended up going with Cloudburst. I was about to do Sprinkle, but I was like, it might be a little bit too much of a jump. But Cloudburst is so pretty as well, and I think it does need like a little bit extra rubbing in when you're applying it on the eyelid. It does have a very emollient feel to it, and I know for some people that makes it like, if the formula is a little bit too slippery, it creases faster, but I honestly haven't noticed any extra creasing, but I do have to be careful with shadows that are like a little bit more squishy or emollient, because I do have very oily eyelids, and yes, I wear eyeshadow primer. In fact, eyeshadow primer was the first eyeshadow adjacent product that I purchased that wasn't eyeliner, because when I first started getting into makeup, I was trying to do eyeliner. Keyword trying. And for the highlighter, I went with April Showers first, and it's so pretty and sparkly, and like I said, this is for the sparkle lover, okay? This is no natural highlighter, period. I'm even applying it to my brow bone, which I forget to do a lot of the times, but I actually did it here, and this is the final look. Oh my god, it's so cute. I love it, especially with the deep kind of burgundy lip color. I'm pretty sure it's MAC's Root for Me and MAC's Cream in Your Coffee, which has been one of my favorite combos lately. I just love, I don't want to call it 90s, but there's just something so unexpected about it. I don't know, like, it's really not a color that I thought I would really love to wear together, but I do. And for this look, I'm starting off with Decay, which is also from the Warlock of the Wood eyeshadow palette from Dieverune Cosmetics. I really liked the kind of, like, it's still a fairly saturated teal, but not like in your face saturated, but it's somewhere between saturated and muted. I don't really know right now what kind of color we would call that, where it still has brightness, but it's not, like I said, in your face punchy bright, because I did want to do something a little bit more subdued. And then I am using the Blend Bunny Cosmetics Blends palette for the pastel green and yellow, and I just really like these colors together. I've really been feeling the butter yellow, pastel spring yellow vibe lately, even though it's starting to get a little bit too hot for pastels, but I just really love those colors together. I think they're really fun and flattering to wear. And for extra depth, I'm using Tombstone and Blackthorn, which are also in the Warlock of the Wood palette. I'm still debating if I kind of feel like I wish I went darker again, but I'm also like, oh my god, we don't need to add black to every single look, but I digress. Anyway, I'm really still liking it, and I really like the Blackthorn color in the Warlock of the Wood palette because it is dark enough to give you some definition, but as you can see in this look, it's not like so powdery, like, oh crap, I used too much black and now I can't back out. I feel like it's kind of like a diet black. And for the lid, I'm just applying it Sprinkle all over the lid with my finger, and I did not apply any pigment primer this time because sometimes I do and sometimes I don't, and I find Sprinkle to be on the drier side, so it's not really that squishy at all. And for the inner corner, I did use Downpour, which is transparent, as I said in the beginning, and I mean, I think Sprinkle and Downpour, they just go together so beautifully. So I mean, obviously I feel like any transparent shadow is gonna work with any other color, but you know what I mean. Like, I feel like they have similar shifts, so it really like just blends and melts into each other really well. Also, let me know if we would like to see comparison color swatches in a video format, because I do it for Instagram, but I haven't thought about doing video form just because I'm slow at video editing, okay? And then for the highlighter, I'm wearing Drop. Oh my god, it's so cute, and I feel like I just love to turn my head every time I'm looking in the mirror just to get that blue glow, baby. Like, ooh, beautiful. And you really don't get any of that yellowy base coming through at all, which I think is great. Also, next time I would be more careful with where I place downpour, because I feel like I really lost the yellow pastel inner corner happening, and I really wanted it to be a little bit more prominent, so boo for me. I really wanted to use the mattes in the Crow palette from Wicked Widow Beauty, and I just really love how dark and easy to use the matte shadows are in this one, and I'm predominantly using Crow just to kind of build up that wing, and I'm not gonna lie, it does get a little bit large and it is a fairly minimal look. Like, I think I only, let me see, I used Crow, I used Draven, and Iron Gates, so about 3 matte eyeshadows for this entire look. This is one of those looks where you really want to be careful with how much black shadow that you're using, and so what I really like to do is kind of start out with black and then just use a color lighter than black to blend it out, and then just go back in and add more black as you're building out the shape that you want, just so you don't overwhelm the eye. The nights that I'm editing photos, I typically tend to have some sort of movie on kind of in the background, and it's something that I started doing in my apartment just to kind of have some sort of noise playing, because Herb was so sensitive to any sort of sound outside of our apartment. Like, so I just always wanted something in the background, and now it's usually some sort of horror movie. And I just recently watched the Rob Zombie Halloween remake, and I don't know what it is, like, I want to like understand what people like love about his movies, because I don't know, it's weird. Like, I feel like somehow the movies that I've seen from him, it just seems like it's the same movie in a different format and different characters somehow. But I was just telling someone that I just love that he casts his wife in all his movies. I don't know, I really love when people, especially artistic people, can collaborate with each other like that. I don't know, it's something that brings me great satisfaction. It's very wife guy of him, and I love that for him. Well, I love that for them, really, but anyway, I just don't like his movies. And for the shimmer for this look, I chose to use Lightning because, duh, we got a lot of gray and black going on, and I just felt like that would be the perfect shimmer to use on top of it. And Lightning is so freaking cool in the pan. Like, look at that. We got multicolored sparkle happening. It's silver, which is a underutilized and underrated multi-chrome shimmer color. And honestly, for a textured shadow, I didn't experience too much fallout, which was pretty surprising, just because I felt like it was going to be one of those shadows that just like kind of flakes when you apply it. But a lot of these shadows, actually I think all of them, smooth out really well, which is super awesome. We love to see it. And I don't remember what I was doing on this day, because I know I didn't do my eye makeup first, but I feel like I went out somewhere and had to step out with base makeup on, so I didn't show me applying the highlighter in this video, but I did do a drop first and then applied April Showers on top, and I really love combining the two. They just, I mean, they pair together so beautifully. And yeah, especially because, like I said, drop it's still sparkly, but I still think it, out of the two, between it and April Showers, it's so much smoother. And I do like a little sparkle factor, because I mean, I do have texture on my face, but I'm not ever like, oh, I don't want to wear sparkly highlighter. I will wear the damn sparkly highlighter. And out of the eyeshadows that we've all tried so far, I really feel like Lightning, Cloudburst, and Thunderbolt are the most unique, and I would definitely pick those up first. I think Sprinkle and Downpour are very beautiful. I just happened to have dupes of those, or similar enough shadows in my collection. And then of course I love the two highlighters. I love Drop. and I love April showers. I don't think there's really a dupe out there for April showers, just in my opinion, but I do feel like if you already have the Dewdrops palette and you're like, I need a single pan of drop, then you should totally get it. But if you already own drop, and with how long it takes to pan an eyeshadow, it's like, is it necessary to buy? If you already have it, I don't think so, but that's just my personal onion. This was my initial fourth look using the shadows from the collection, and I just really did not like how it turned out. Like, I feel like conceptually it's fine, but the execution, like, I don't know, the blend was a hot ass mess, and I can see what I did wrong, but maybe I'll do a tutorial in the future, just dissecting it, because the look that I ended up doing I feel like turned out so much better. And even though it's a lot more simple and doesn't feature the cut crease like I was intending on doing, I still really like the colors of it, and the blend was just so much smoother. And I used the Narimi eyeshadows for this. I used the Night Spider eyeshadow palette as well as the Jackdaw palette. The shadow that gave me the most trouble initially was Venom from the Night Spider palette, and it is a very beautiful dark olive matte color, but for whatever reason, when I was putting it, or when I placed it down first and then used lighter eyeshadows to blend it out, I felt like it was like just like somehow lifting itself up from my eye, and I feel like you can really tell on the edges, like it just looks really muddy for some reason. And so this time I started laying down the lighter greens from the Jackdaw palette. I specifically used Tail and Hemline first and laid those down and put Venom on top of it, and I felt like it blended so much better. And then I did get a little bit of fallout from the shade Beak, and I feel like a couple of the Narimi eyeshadows are like that, where you really need to tap off any excess product because it's just going to have fallout. And it's usually for darker colors. Definitely some of the lighter colors I guess could be like that, but I find that the darker colors that you need to tap off any excess off the brush, which I generally do not do ever. And I didn't even realize until after I finished the look, of course, that the shimmer placement is so incredibly similar to the second look that I did, where it's downpour and sprinkle. And I kind of wish I had not done that, but I mean, again, they just like melt into each other so significantly well, and you know, it's hard not to combine them together. And I think in the final look you can kind of see it as well. I used a cloudburst on the edges of the look, and you just need to go in and make sure you actually like apply it evenly when you're applying the eyeshadow. So those are the 4 looks that I did using Dieverune Cosmetics new April Showers collection. If you picked up anything, I would love to know what you picked up, what's going to be on your wish list, and if you have any questions, I would be happy to try and answer any of them. Thank you so much for watching and commenting and all that fun stuff. And if you are not subscribed already and would love to see more of the shenanigans we get up to whenever I end up posting stuff, subscribe, click the button. Thank you so much.